from the 405, where I'm just your regular gamer talking to the intelligent gamers. If you are new to the channel, welcome. Be so kind. Be so kind to hit that subscribe button, that like button, that notification bell. I am going to be busy this week throwing out a lot of content. I probably won't, but I might drop another video today because there's so much stuff I want to talk about. And I don't want, you know how I get into my rambling, but I want to kind of only just stay focused on one particular thing on each video because there's so much stuff. I didn't get a chance to do the podcast, do GRG last week. It was crazy. Somebody came out here and cut some limbs down, and well, they were cutting limbs, and they knocked down one of the electrical poles. And then instead of them calling somebody to help them, they went ahead and tried to put the pole up themselves. And they don't know because part of the neighborhood it's got new homes, other part of the neighborhood got older homes. And so there's power lines that are underground, and they're going to try to do this through the whole neighborhood because of the tornado situation or whatever. And so they dug to try to put the pole back up, and they cut power lines. And so my power was completely off all day Friday. And it didn't come back on until like 7:15, 7:25 p.m. And, you know, we start Central Time, 8 p.m. So I didn't have time to prep, do anything, whatever. So I was just like, oh, that's it. No show. So, and I was disappointed because there was so much stuff I wanted to talk about. But I will talk about it this week on top of just everything else for the new news. I know that there was MPD numbers out there, and I see that there's some PlayStation fans trying to throw clout. That will be for another video. But all I want to talk about right now is TGS, and kind of ask you guys this question: do you think that Xbox benefited from this, from the showing? So I personally, you know, I'm going to give you my thoughts on it. Can't wait to hear what you guys think in the chat. But anyway, personally, for myself, was very happy. Very happy. I mean, if you can see some of the stuff that I tweeted, I was stoked. I was like just insanely just excited about Japanese games coming back to the Xbox. Now, like I said, I've seen some people trying to throw shade because Soul Hackers, who was on the MPDs for PlayStation, and it wasn't on the Xbox. But again, I have to go back and reiterate because some people, you know, look, Twitter is funny, man. Twitter, the social media is absolutely funny. It is absolutely funny. It's hilarious, right? And hold on, let me see if I've seen some people trying to. Okay, yeah, but it's absolutely funny. It's hilarious, right? Because of this reason, there was last generation. There were people that was trying to come out and give this explanation of saying that Japanese games didn't matter. The West don't really care for Japanese games. Why should Xbox care for Japanese games? And if you've been paying attention to my channel, to me, for any time, from any podcast that I've been on, these I don't know, 7-8 years I've been doing this, you would know that I've always been capping for Japanese games. Not only just because now it seems like it's the hot thing, because now it looks like Japanese games are becoming to get into their zone. It's just because I've always been a fan of Japanese games. I mean, we got started into the gaming space because of Japanese games. I mean, it didn't, I mean, I wasn't around during the Magnavox era. I was born in that era, but I never played the Magnavox console, which I believe that was the very first console. But Atari, that's an American console. But the games that they were introducing to people at that time were games, especially for me, that got involved into the arcades, were Japanese titles, you know, from Namco. And you know, you got Joust, you got all those, Pac-Man, all those other games, right? Like that, Dig Dug, all that, right? So, I mean, and then when you jumped into Nintendo, I mean, that was just a Japanese company that was bringing you Japanese games. So again, I've always been a fan of Japanese games. And like I've told people before, like my favorite console of all time is the PlayStation 1 because of the variety of games that you had at your disposal. The 360 is right next to that with the Dreamcast. I would say probably third. But going forward, talking about the Tokyo Game Show, I love the fact that they went back to the roots. What up with you, Spider-Man? What up with you, Tashawn? you said you don't like Japanese games, but Game Pass made me like a couple of those joints. See, now I'm going to get into that. You know how I get this started, right? Like I get it wound up and then I go straight into the heart. But I also have to make this point of saying too is that back to the original point that I was making is that there were people last generation, there was content creators out there that was absolutely dogging the hell out of Japanese games, right? And it kind of gave this thought process, and I couldn't stand it. Anytime that other people were saying what these other content creators were saying about Japanese games and how they, they don't matter, and let them go around, let them be Western, because Western RPGs was kicking Japanese games ass, except for Final Fantasy. And a few other titles out there, but Persona, whatever. But even Persona, like when I made the point of comparing it to Final Fantasy, Persona is nowhere in its same in the league, not because of the game and the story and all of that, just uh just the massive success of Final Fantasy, and Final Fantasy's been around a lot longer than Persona. Then of course it's one of those things where it's huge. That's really the one Japanese game that, or I should say, game from the East that can compete with some of those Western juggernauts like Skyrim and Mass Effect and stuff like that. But regardless, right? I hated it. I hated every time that it was brought up, saying something negative about Japanese games. But lo and behold, what's really funny to me, what's funny is that the same people, like, because you got these narrative, you got the narrative always driven stance, gotta always try to throw some kind of shade at Xbox gamers or whatever. The people the content creators that were going out there spewing this filth, spewing this garbage, they're capping for PlayStation now. Remember, I mean, we know who these people are, right? Like, we know who they are. And now they're capping for PlayStation. All love for PlayStation, all love for this, for that, for this, for that, whatever the case may be. I don't care what the excuses was. You came out and you said what you said. Now you over here capping for PlayStation because of we know the real reason. But regardless, that's neither here nor there. That's none of my business. Get your hustle on. But don't have those Neanderthals that don't want to comprehend, because I'm telling you this right now. If somebody was, let's say that they were PlayStation and then they jumped over and started making content pro Xbox, right? But then they were saying that, like for me, like something that hits like a genre I love, like sports games, or let's just say fighters, right? Oh, they talk bad about fighters every time. But then when Xbox now starting to see that we're getting fighters back to the box, oh, this is great. This is what I've been talking about. I'm going to call you out. I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you. I don't care about what the hustle is about you trying to make as much revenue, income, whatever. I still have dignity. I don't care about that. Like, it's not me. I don't care about trying to get as much dollars off of suckers just personally. That's just not me. That's not how I'm built. So I'll just keep grinding the way that I do. But it just makes me sick to my stomach to see people still trying to throw shade at the fact that Microsoft is doing a service for the community that a lot of people outside, I'm sure, with bringing this up to Phil Spencer and company saying, look, we need more Japanese titles. We need more hack and slash games. We need more JRPGs. We need more fighters. We need more this and that. And lo and behold, they came and they delivered. Now, did they go out and did they blow everybody's socks off? Probably not. Who cares? That's not the point. The point is that they listened. That they made these adjustments, that they went out and they went and tried to make relationships with Japan, something that they've had a problem with in the sense of, the 360, they did great. Even with the OG Xbox, even though you start hearing about that they were having problems when you read articles and stuff like that, that they just weren't tight knit with Japan and just game developers in the East like that. The fact of it is that whatever Phil did at the end of the last gen, when he said that he was going to make it right, they did it. And to have these titles not only coming to Xbox, but a lot of these titles are coming over to Game Pass, and I know that that they hate that word. The stands hate they just hate the whole thought of Game Pass, because you know what, they wish that they had a Game Pass themselves. We know this. We all know this. You know what I'm saying? So, Spider-Man, you know what? I'm going to be talking about that at some other point, man. Yeah, I know. I seen about the Modern Warfare stuff. They don't care. They don't care. Big shout out to EA though. EA came out. EA ain't scared, and you know what? I'm a Battlefield fan more than I am a Call of Duty fan. So they do have a lot of possibilities to regain to compete against Call of Duty. They have competed against Call of Duty. But anyway, I'll make another video. Like I said, you're gonna see a lot of me this week because I got a lot I want to talk about. But I want to stay with this though. I want to stay with the Japanese stuff because I think this is going to finally break the straw that breaks the camel's back on getting back to the fundamentals of what made the 360 great. And listen, they can talk about MPDs, they can talk about this and that. I don't think that I know Xbox is not going to get blown out the water like they did with the Xbox One compared to the PlayStation 4. There's a lot of variables that I feel that's going to change, that's going to make this whole dynamic change going forward. But if Xbox becomes that console of what they were with the 360, where they just gave you everything, all different types of variety, plus the fact of the value aspect, which is going to be the most successful part of this whole situation. Like I said this before, it doesn't matter about the console sales with Xbox. It's about the engagement. It's about how many people are going to be caught up into the Xbox ecosystem. That's consoles. If they are 20 million consoles away from PlayStation this coming up generation. So, because I guarantee you, if they are that, you know what I'm saying, some people will say, well, that's a big gap. But if they are that close compared to what they were last gen, then that's momentum, and that also tells you how many subscribers have that's on Game Pass. That right there is going to, listen, there's so many things. Okay, like I said, I ain't going to ramble. I'm going to stay on point. But this is the first part. I think this is one of the first parts of the puzzle to make Xbox get back to the way that it was with the 360. And I think that every Xbox gamer who's been an Xbox gamer, even from the OG, can say that the most successful Xbox was the 360, and the one reason why it was because of its value and because of the variety of library. There's other factors too, where there's some games that ran better on Xbox than they did on PlayStation. You're starting to see more of that now because of the tools that are being shown. But regardless of all that, it's about the value, and it's also about the content that comes out. And for Xbox having such a down year when it comes to the AAA exclusive aspect talk, then it's still amazing that Xbox would still win any MPDs at all. Think about that. Think about that for a second. Think about that, just that whole thing. So now when you got these other games that's coming out here that a lot of Xbox gamers have not played, have not seen, like I said, for me, Soul Hackers 2, enjoyed it. Was it the best JRPG I ever played? No, but I did enjoy the hell out of it. I played it from beginning to end. I put in about 120 hours into it. I'll probably do another playthrough probably sometime next year or whatever, because there's so much content that's coming out that I want to sink my teeth into. And right now I'm all in on NBA 2K23, and getting a little bit of this here, that here. Noonie Cooney is on the box, and I've been playing a little bit of that, but right now it's all NBA 2K23 for me. Right? I gotta get my player completely right so I can really show out on the park. But yeah, no, Deathloop is another game or whatever. But I think that why some people will look at this and talk about like Soul Hackers 2 wasn't registered on the Xbox, but there's a reason for that. How many people can say that they even knew that there was a Soul Hackers 1? Not very many. And see, this is another thing too that really cracks me up, is that yes, PlayStation will probably mostly always have the benefit of the doubt when it comes to Japanese games. Well, it's a Japanese company for one. Two, people who have been a PlayStation fan who are around my age or close to it, that's been around since the PlayStation 1 all the way through and has been a PlayStation fan all consistently every generation, they're going to know about a lot of these titles, or they're going to know somewhat about them because they've seen them before. An Xbox gamer, how the hell an Xbox gamer is supposed to know anything about a Soul Hackers if they've never even heard of it, if they've never seen it before? I mean, that doesn't make no sense. So again, if the game didn't sell well on Xbox, that's fine. And I hear that the stands are going to make excuses and saying, well, see, they don't want to buy these games. People aren't trying to spend money on things that they don't know about. See, if you had demos like, let's say, like Wulong, that game's going to be on Game Pass. But even if that game wasn't on Game Pass, I still think that game would do well because it had a demo for people to jump on and play. I think a game like JoJo Bizarre Adventure, it does have a demo, but again, fighters aren't as popular as they used to be damn near 20 years ago. I mean, I think probably in the last great era of the fighter was probably at the end of the PlayStation 3 360 era when you had like Soul Calibur 5 and Tekken Tag 2 and all that. Like those, I think that was kind of like the end, and then there was this kind of average moment. And then like when you bring back Street Fighter, you make it exclusive, and then Street Fighter 5 is nothing of what it was supposed to. Nothing. It was completely, it was below average. And any fighting fan will tell you how bad that game was, and it took 2 years for it to get right. But Street Fighter 5 is better than it's ever been, but it's too late now. Everybody's hyped for Street Fighter 6. Fighters were in a bad state, I felt. And even with I love my Tekken 7, it still wasn't my favorite Tekken of all time. But and still like the lag issues, all the internet issues and stuff like that. It just, and then the console versions didn't come out to be as good as what they were. That's kind of like, to me, is where I just, it just was a down generation for me for fighters overall, and a lot of those fighters didn't come over to Xbox, so that was another down thing. But as you can see right here, Nuni Kuni, oh my god, I'm so excited about this game. I love Nuni Kuni. I love it. 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 I love it, man. Just this nostalgia on me with playing. I only played it for like a couple of hours. But just the vibe, I just love it. I'm glad that we are getting these games finally. And again, the narrative-driven people out there, they constantly, oh, well, these old games, you're getting hand-me-downs. Stop listening to that. If you get offended by that, Xbox gamers, or just gamers in general, by anybody saying, well, that game was on this, well, that, if you've never played the game, it's still new to you. And so that, what that is it's kind of that diverting type of, I don't know, it's just that, it's that garbage where they try to divert to make you feel guilty that you didn't play this game years ago, when in all actuality, a lot of games that they might not have never played the games, but they want to make that point. Like I had a person hit me up like 5 or 6 times trying to get a response out of me. I'm not going to give you no response. You're not making any sense. Any game, because I guarantee you, if you are a gamer and you buy games, you have a backlog. That's just the way of life. Everybody got things to do. People go touch grass. People work. People got other responsibilities. Not everybody's going to be sitting home all day and night playing every game that they got in their library. And if anybody tells you that, they're lying. They're absolutely lying, regardless of how much of a geek you are, and you're not sociable, and you just play nothing but just one type of game, or whatever the case may be, or whatever, and you just don't have a social life, nothing going on other than that, you still are going to take time away from the video game to watch maybe some movies or something. But everybody who supports gaming is going to have a backlog. And it's just like for me, I've had some very fantastic experiences for games that I may bought day one, and I may not have played them until 3, 4, 5 years later. And the experience was still there, regardless if it was a launch title during the 360 era or the Xbox One era, or whatever. See, that's the beauty of of gaming. Like there is no time limit. There is no time. People don't have to. There's not an expiration date on these games. You see what I'm saying? Like if there's a classic, it's a classic. Even if it's a game, if it's a cult classic, it's a cult classic. If it's a game that nobody likes and it's a game that you like, that you love, you can always go back and you can play it. Or if you never gave it a chance, but you see that the price is right for it, why not? Why not? I got a huge backlog too, man. Look, I bought and everybody, that's not one person that's told me anything bad about the Guardians of the Galaxy game that came out last year. Thank you, Dutch. I appreciate that. He says at least K Mega is beating these games. I see too many frauds starting them up and dropping them. You know what? And maybe these games might not be for people, but again, that's one thing that it goes both ways, though, Dutch. It does go both ways, and I appreciate that. Thank you so much. But it goes both ways. Some people, they might overtalk and get out there and they start capping, and then and then next thing you know, they're like, oh shit, this game ain't. No, I ain't gonna do that. I ain't gonna do that. Like for instance, everybody was all in the hype because of Fall Guys, right? And so I played it for the very first time last night with Attic and Don and yeah, Kids Move didn't even want to play it. And I'm not interested in the game. I mean, it would be something my wife would probably enjoy. I'm gonna have to show her it, but I did have fun. Low key, I did have some fun with it, but it's not something mentally, every time that I was playing it, I was like, "This is cute." I was getting, I'm a competitive person, so I want to win. But then in the back of my mind, I'm like, man, I need to get back on 2K. I need to get back on this. I need to get back on that, man. So, but I still played, gave it some time. But it's not a bad game. Like Fortnite. Like I haven't played Fortnite since they made the changes. But I'm not going to say the game is awful because I had fun when I was playing it. But the narratives where people try to make this point of saying that, and this is what's funny too, because when people come out and they say this and then they get exposed, everybody that support these people, they're quiet. They put their head in the sand and they don't say anything. And just like what I was saying in the beginning of this video or stream or whatever you want to call it, it's the same people that were trying to drive Japanese, trying to have Xbox to drive these games away because they weren't fans of these Japanese games. There are content creators now siding with PlayStation and thinking that everything that PlayStation does is great. Even the Japanese games themselves. And like I said, I ain't knocking the hustle, but shouldn't PlayStation fans be all over the people that were making those statements instead of coming after Xbox gamers who most of them have not played a lot of these Japanese games? You know what I'm saying? As long as they're giving them opportunities and they try, it's great. And that's what makes Game Pass so goddamn great. That's what makes it so, and that's why they hate it. That's why they hate Game Pass so much. Because yes, I think Wulong will still do pretty well on Xbox because of the demo, and you see a lot of people. If you read the reviews from the people, because that's the reviews I like. I like the reviews from off of Steam, and I like when you go through the Windows Store or the Xbox game store, and then you're looking at those reviews. I like reading those. Now, just regular typical reviews, I don't pay attention to that no more. I just don't. It just I might listen to a couple because of people that I know, or I know that they're pretty even keel. But see, even if they tell me like, I forgot what that Dungeons and Dragons game was that came out to Game Pass, they dogged it. And some of the biggest reviewers out there, like I think was Skills Up or whatever, just destroyed that game. It's a 4-player co-op. It's a 3 or 4-player co-op. I think it could be 4, yeah. But it was Dungeons and Dragons. You had a chick that was Arrow. You had a little hobbit, like not hobbit, but what is those damn little guys called? I can't remember. But you got an axe. Then you got like this one guy with knives, and then you got like a Thor looking dude, that's got the hammer and all that stuff. Like I love that game. I maxed out every character, 20. All of them hit 20. That was the max that you hit them on. I love that game so much. And I'm like, see, this is why I don't listen to it, because they're giving off of their impressions of what they like. But to dog a game, just, if you say, hey, it's just not my cup of tea, I'm not digging it, but I'm still going to do this review. But that's not how they approach stuff. They always approach things with, because I said so. You don't need to like this. And that makes no sense to me. But anyway, going forward with what Xbox is doing, as you can see all this stuff in the background, I think it's going to be bright, because not only do you see, I don't know if people paid attention and noticed, but there was other games that's out there that I've talked about that were supposedly, that I've heard that they were coming out. Like the one game that I talked about, and a lot of people I've seen that was playing that game, it was hold on. You know what? I'm just gonna, because I've been trying to say the name, because I've said it, I butchered it, but let me go ahead and this is the name of the game right here. Let me see.
Sword 7 is an
here.
Shuan Yuan Sword 7.
Yeah, Shuan Wuan Sword 7. So let me say that again. Let me hear it.
Shuan Yuan Sword 7.
Shuan Yuan. There was no way. No way. I'm too country for that. That just was, I couldn't say that shit. Anyway, so Shuan Wuan 7, Sword 7. I've talked about the game. I've showed the gameplay. A lot of people were like, matter of fact, a lot of people, there was a scene where you fight with this big dragon and it was all colorful and it was great. And it got a lot of buzz, and so much so that I had people hit me in the DMs like, man, you think I need to get this game? And I'm like, yeah, no, if you interested in it, go ahead and get it. It was just like with people hitting me up about Soul Hackers 2. I'll give you my honest opinion. I feel that the game, I like the game for what it is, but I feel because there's a lot of people that don't like turn-based anymore, that I would say wait. And I still think that maybe Soul Hackers would eventually come to Game Pass. So that gives you an opportunity, but I would tell people to wait for a sale. I bought it day one, and I enjoyed my purchase, but I still feel like the game was not perfect. I mean, it plays kind of like Persona a little bit, but it's not as in it's a lower budget game compared to Persona. So that being said, right there, and there's parts that could be pretty tedious. Especially with like you going through the dungeons and there's a lot of like mazes, and there'll be things that will get you completely pissed off. So I would think for somebody who is engaging in this type of games for the very first time, I would say wait for a sale, cop it then. But yeah, for me, I thought it was cool, but there was part of that kind of got me like, come on now, not amazed at the end of the game. Like I don't want. I'm ready. I'm engaged in the story. I think the story is great. The voice acting is it's fantastic. But the maze stuff, it pissed me off a couple. In the beginning of it, in the middle and stuff like that, no, I kind of understood that. But at the very end, when I'm already engaged, I'm hype, I'm ready to go ahead and take out the main villain, and I'm like, okay, you know what I'm saying? There was a lot of emotional stuff going on, and then you got me going through a damn maze. Oh, come on now, don't do that to me. But again, I give that game a 7.8 overall. I would have gave it an 8.3. 8.3, 8.5 maybe, because I enjoyed it that much. But I feel that the repetitiveness of Soul Hackers 2, that would probably have some people like, man, is there any things? And it takes a while for you to start getting, once you start summoning your demons and you can start kind of combining them and forming other more powerful demons like a damn like Yu-Gi-Oh card. That stuff is really fun to me. But it takes a while to get there, and so there'll be a lot of repetitiveness, a lot of grinding. But then like I said, the one thing that will probably get people is the mazes, like, because there's about 4 of them, and they're not. And the one big maze, which is called the Axis, I think that's absolutely cool. I think that's perfect because what you're doing, you're traveling through people's minds. So that's how you would think that you would travel through people's minds to try to find a way to get through to unlock other parts of their mind. So I'm all cool with the Axis. I think that's perfect, but a little bit too many, mazes in my opinion. So that's why I dropped it down a little bit, but I still enjoyed the game, especially towards when I got to the ending part, it was really, really, really good. So, but yeah, that game right there. Then you got, Persona finna come out. That's going to be on Game Pass. It's a win. It's a win. You know what I'm saying? Wulong, I think is going to be glorious. I haven't even played the demo yet. I've you know what I'm saying? It got Neo 2 vibes, and so I've even heard that people say it's more like this could be considered maybe like a Neo 3 type of thing. And if you've ever played Neo, but Xbox fans has not got a chance to play Neo, then you're in for a treat if you have played, because I think that because Neo 2 is hard, but man, golly, with the difference of way of weapons and the things you could do, and once you learn how to get your parry right, fire, fire, fire. Really do love it, and hopefully I would like to see Neo come, but maybe could be Xbox versions of their Neo, and if that's the case, then I'm all for it. I do want some kind of some Ninja Gaiden type of hack and slash, which I kind of see some couple of games like that coming. Another game that people didn't see that was on the list was Fairy Sword. I think that's what it's called. Fairy Sword 7, or it's Sword and Fairy. I think it's Fairy and Sword 7. I played gameplay. A lot of people asked me what game was that. I was playing it on the PC. I got it about a year and a half ago or whatever. Really, really fun game. That's a hack and slash. Pretty much. It's you know what I'm saying, beautiful environments. It's crazy because and this game is what I think one of like a Chinese game. I don't think it's a Japanese game. I think it's a Chinese game. As a matter of fact, I think it is it's a Chinese game. It's from the East, but the thing with that game is that it's going to trip you out because graphically, in some levels, it's going to look like a big, huge AAA, and then at other times, it's going to look kind of double A-ish. But the game is still fun as hell to play, and especially when you get engaging into the story, pretty damn hot. Now, there's some other games that I've heard that was supposed to be coming. Now, I don't know if that's still going to happen or not, but so far, for everything that people's told me, those games have come. So now I don't know about Gaijin 3. Now, I would love if Gaijin 3 came. That's a dope ass game. That game is fire. Then there's a game called The Wind Road. I think it's The Wind Road it's The Wind Road. That game still needs to be polished because even on PC, that game has a lot of potential. It's really damn dope. I've showed gameplay of that. People ask what kind of game is that, but I feel like controller wise, they're still trying to get it together. And then there's another game called Bloody Spell. I don't think that game is going to come, but I would love if those 3 games would come over to consoles. Those are some really, really good games. But yeah, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. It's, of course, the fighters. I would be happy if we could get. Now, I'm satisfied, right? I'm satisfied. But me being a greedy gamer, if we could get Grand Blue Fantasy, we can get Grand Blue Fantasy on Xbox, and you know, if there's another Blaze Blue that's coming out instead of Central Friction, I'm cool. You don't have to give me anything else. Like I've seen other people talking about some of the other fighters that older. Look, Xbox has brought Guilty Gear Strive. I don't, you know what I'm saying? Look, there's no need to bring XR or XR2. You got the latest version of Guilty Gear. And people, and see, this is another thing too. If Guilty Gear Strive, if XR and XR2 came out, then it would confuse people who would play those 2 games and then play Strive, because you would think that maybe Strive would come out before they would bring XR 1 and 2. And they don't play nowhere the same. They're completely different. Strive is a lot more technical. So start off with Strive. It's been absolutely eons before that a Guilty Gear has been on Xbox. Let's just be happy with that. I'm very pleased about Tag Battle. It introduced you to all different types of other fighters that's available, like in Night Birth. That's a great fighter. That's so low key. A lot of people don't talk about it, but that's a great fighter. But there's characters from Blaze Blue, from now the Ruby thing. I bought the little indie game that was just kind of like a little beat 'em up or whatever. But I never seen them have any with any fighters. So if not, I would have already picked them up. But those are in there. Who else? Persona. And also that's one other game, Persona Ultramix. Since you already got Persona there, the Ultramax, and I still think that will drop. I still think that will drop on Xbox. I think that's just timed, and I also think that the Virtual Fighter Showdown will drop on Xbox. I really am I'm not 100% confident, but I'm around 60, 70% that those 2 games could still come on Xbox. So I'm really happy about the fighters dropping. Of course, can't say enough about Street Fighter 6. Can't say enough about Tekken 8. Like, they're going to be crazy. What was you saying, C-Mac? You said Grand Blue Fantasy is dead. You don't want to. You know what? I've gone on there. Now, see, it might be dead on PlayStation. See, that's another thing, too, that PlayStation gamers don't tell you about. They'll say, it's the home of fighters. Those games die on a vine. Those games die on a vine because of the fact that they don't, because I've said this before about fighters. They need to all be cross-play. Cross-platform, I should say. They all need to be cross-platform. Just like racers. I feel that racers need to be cross-platform. Forza, I think what makes Forza absolutely, the behemoth, the king that it actually is now in racing. I think we can kind of put this to bed now about Gran Turismo and Forza. I think we can actually put this to bed because when you looked at the MPDs, boom, Gran Turismo was there at like 7th or something like that, even further down, I believe. Forza still killing the game. Their numbers are well ahead of Gran Turismo's numbers when it comes to player engagement. So I think we need to put that to bed. Forza is, and then when Motorsport drop, it's over. It's already been over. I'm sorry. I love Gran Turismo, but it's just not. No. The offering was less than stellar, in my opinion. I will enjoy Gran Turismo 7. I enjoyed Sport for what it was. I'll always enjoy Gran Turismo, but I mean, you just got to let the truth has just got to be the truth. You know what I'm saying? I had to concede as much as I love Need for Speed, when Gran Turismo came out, Gran Turismo took it over. So then again, you just have to throw the white towel. It's over. Keep bringing Gran Turismo. You know what I'm saying? It's still going to do some decent numbers, but the glory days of Gran Turismo being the king of racers, that shit is gone. That's over with. That's it. And you saying fighting games, Dutch saying fighting games are pretty much dead these days unless they're Street Fighter. And that's another thing. That was my point. I mean, I made a video talking about that, about fighting games. And yes, fighting games are not at the same level of what they used to be, except for the big boys. Now, this is the thing about what the big boys can bring to the smaller things. But the smaller titles have to do this in order to still stay relevant. Is cross-play, cross-platform, and if your title is that niche, get on these services. Get on a PlayStation service. Get on Game Pass, or go free to play. The one fighter that's coming out that looks really good, looks absolutely fantastic. It's from Riot Games. It's a fighter that's kind of like in that same vein as DBZ DBZ Fighter Z, or maybe a little bit of Marvel versus Capcom 2. It's kind of like a little hybrid of both. Looks absolutely great. Animations, graphics, all that looks sweet. Oh yeah, hold on. Let me back this up for a minute. Hold on. Keep it on the TGS. You know what I'm saying? Like, there we go. Go back to let's see. Instead of that, we know it's gonna be great. Anyway, so the thing about that is that if you don't want to put those games on the service, make those games be free to play, just like the Riot games. That is the way to get people to engage. People just see it is a testament of what's going on with gaming. There's so much content out there. People, and then on top of that, games are broken, games are delayed, or this is that. Like, there's so many variables of what gamers enjoy and what gamers don't enjoy. But the one thing that's constant is that gamers, if they're skeptical, they're not getting that game like that. And on top of that, I feel that with the fighter as well, is what I've said before, is that I think that the pro leagues hurt fighters, because what you want is you want to have as much engagement. You want as many people, as many casuals as possible jumping on those games, right? But if you got a game that's only locked up on one platform, and even if the game is a multi-plat, but it's only locked on Xbox, it's only locked on Nintendo, it's only locked on PlayStation, that game is going to eventually die, because what happens is that the casual is going to jump on it, they're going to enjoy it, but then when they try to attempt to jump online and play against somebody, and and they don't have the matchmaking properly to where you're just going against sweaties, because that's all that's there is the people that want to try to be Evo player or that's all they play, they're out. The first match, the first game, they'll quit and they'll leave. That's why when I do fight night and when people do come and they're first, are you gonna kick my? I'm not gonna go out. I'm not picking my best player. I rarely do because I just come out. I just want people to see. Look, I lose games just like everybody else. I enjoy, you know what I'm saying? And if people I play with, you know, I'm giving them an opportunity. I'm not trying to thrash them to look like the coolest person. People know I play fighter. That's all that matters. You know what I'm saying? I want to get more people involved into fighting, but the way that they have it structured, they got these people that's on the internet that shows this, and then these, and it's the same thing with shooters too. Like, I mean, you know, when you got the sweaties on you, it's a shame, bro. It's bad. So that's one of the big deals that fighters need to do is try to make things, especially the smaller fighters, cross-platform play. So you can have a little get together. Make sure that you have lobbies because that's another thing too. If you don't want to play against randoms for the fact that you just don't want to play against somebody who's sweaty, then you can play with your friends. If the game is on Game Pass, right? And then you can get like 6 to 8 friends to jump in and play together, and y'all are all novices. That's the best enjoyment ever because y'all just having fun trying to learn how to play the game. That's what needs to happen. You said I was cheating with Fei Long. I was not cheating with Fei Long, bro. Anyway, but no. You know what I'm saying? I can't wait for it. And they will not bring back Fei Long because of the Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee's family said it was disrespectful, which I totally understand. And I know a lot of people was upset about that. I love Fei Long. He's one of my favorites, but regardless. Anyway, but yeah, that's one of the big things. But I think overall, getting off to the fighting stuff because you know how I can dig deep into the fighting. This also goes for everything else within within just the whole Japanese game aspect with with Xbox. Is that it has to resurface, it has to come back to the way that it used to be. It just has to. And in order to do that, you have to start bringing out the content so people can get familiar with these characters. It's crazy. Like I remember Gunglaive. That's how you say it. Gunglaive. But there's a lot of people that didn't know it. Like sometimes I forget how old I am. I know I'm saying I'm an old fart. But you know what I'm saying? But you know, I'm like, you don't know. But I forget. Oh, okay, yeah, right. I forget. You're in your 20s. You have no idea. If you never, you know what I'm saying, you grew up in the PlayStation 2 era. So you know what I'm saying? So you know what I'm saying, the Xbox One era, you know, OG era. So yeah, I get it. My bad. So but there's people that just don't know about a lot of these titles that's coming out that are younger. And it's good for them to bring them on top of the other content that they have. So I think that Xbox overall did a fantastic job. Is it enough? No, there's still a couple of more titles that we got to get that I feel that Xbox gamers need to get their hands on. But I mean, the one thing that we've noticed, and I don't, you know what I'm saying, and I don't know if people have talked about it, is compared to last year, Xbox had zero to none. And I see, and I agree with PTK Blam when he posted that on Twitter, zero. But I've said this as well. Like Xbox had no support in the Japanese market. Not very little. Final Fantasy, it was a breath of fresh air to see the Final Fantasies. But going from last gen to where let's say that people they were invested into the Xbox One, and they come in, they didn't play no Japanese games because the Japanese games were not on Xbox. They were only exclusive on PlayStation and you know, PC and on Nintendo. So now coming into this generation, if somebody who wasn't you know, didn't really play the PlayStation, the 360 or the OG, they got a whole new experience, and they're going to try these games out. And look, I don't know what Persona is going to do. I don't care really. You know what I'm saying? In the sense of it's not my money. You know what I'm saying? It's what Xbox and them done. But what I do care about, and which I know that's going to happen, is that it's going to get a lot of buzz. There's going to be a lot of people trolling, and they're going to be throwing. And of course, you'll have those people that'll probably play Persona for 5 minutes and show a clip and then send it off. But I do feel that Persona will have a fan base. I don't I don't see it having a fan base as big as PlayStation or Nintendo, but I do see that they'll start a fan base. I see the Wulongs having a fan base. I see that the Gunglaives having a fan base. All these other games that Xbox is now starting to get from the East, they will have a fan base. I've seen it. I see it on my Twitter every day. I see it on Facebook. When I go check on Facebook, on social media, I see on TikTok, I see Xbox gamers playing Japanese games. And so it's you know what I'm saying, if it's not going to catch up to whatever PlayStation has or whatever, so what? The point of the matter is that it's got to start somewhere. It's just you just don't give up on the fact that just because it may not be the best, it doesn't sell amazing, that you have to let it go. And because look, let's just be honest here. A lot of these games that a lot of these people cap for on PlayStation, they don't buy those games either. Those games don't sell very well at all. I mean, if you think about it, Persona, exclusive only to PlayStation, only sold around 2 million. I think it's around 3 million now, but they only sold 2 to 3 million. Final Fantasy VII Remake, it has not outsold Final Fantasy Final Fantasy 15. Now, the people will tell you, which was kind of crazy, well, it's a multi-plat. Well, that should tell you. Then these games should be multi-plat all across the board. You know what I'm saying? Give people the opportunity to play these games. And look, I've seen people playing once like Final Fantasy was on Game Pass, and then like of course this has been a down year for the exclusive stuff. I've seen people post Final Fantasy 15, like, man, I didn't know this game was this cool. The power of Game Pass, the power of having Japanese titles on Xbox. Gamers will play these games if they have the opportunity to get to play them. You will not have any, you can brag about these games being exclusive, but not having the full growth. And the same people that's bragging about those games being exclusive, not buying them themselves. And then those games die on a vine or just kind of stay stagnant on PlayStation, to where PlayStation can only give them so much money and say, here you go. Instead of what Xbox is doing now, is like, look, man, we're going to throw that bag. We might have to throw a little bit extra, but hey, we know that out of all these titles that we'll have a couple of hits. And then we build in that. This helps build on the relationship and get people to start thinking about, okay, from people from the East to say, all right, this game did pretty good. This game did pretty good. These numbers aren't too bad. And of course, Microsoft is wanting to throw some money. Why not? Let's go ahead and let's go to put these games on Xbox. Hey, it's a winning ticket, in my opinion. I mean, one of the wealthiest companies in the world, they can spend the money. It ain't my money. I'm cool. Just bring the games over. That's all I care about. What Spider-Man said, I'm 42. I'm older than you, bro. I'm older than you. I got you by 5 years. So, you know what I'm saying? What was going to say what Snooki saying? He says, I understand my brother, but $70 is no chicken feed with some of these games, like the Sony remake of last. Oh yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, no, I mean, that's another part of this as well, that I'll be doing with another video this week, talking about basically like that. Cause I mean, look, people can say what they want to. God of War is still going to sell. That's a legacy title. So those legacy titles will still get what, you know, so still get their money. Like, you know, that's just what it is. But if you start trying to bring out new games for $70 and then people have options for sale to get older games, they'll get the older games because you know what I'm saying? You got games for 30, you know what I'm saying, 35, 40 bucks, and you got a game that's 70, and it might be a game that's intriguing that you might, man, I really want to kind of play that. But man, I could get potentially 2 games in one. If it's $35, I got 2 games. You know what I'm saying? Compared to one. And people are always going to choose the value aspect over whatever. The majority of people will anyway. So yeah, that's why I just look at it for the whole situation. The TGS was great. Microsoft, they still have much more work to do, but they have answered the call. We have asked for this stuff and they're delivering. And that's all I could say on that is that, and I don't think anybody could complain about that. They could say it's old games, blah, 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 this and that. No. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. As long as we can get a hold of these games, that is the beautiful thing about it. And a lot of these games that they showed are going to be new titles as well. So I don't know. For everything, I'm definitely going to talk about what Xbox's potential, what their thought was to go into 2023 of dropping their games, of how many exclusives they were going to drop. Of course, they can't drop all of those because there's a lot of those games that's still in production, kind of went through development hell, all of that. But still, the potential of what they're going to do is going to be crazy. So I think what Xbox has done overall, it set a standard of that. Look, we are going to support games from the East. We're going to, you know what I'm saying? They're still going to do requirements. Another thing too that's kind of crazy to me is that, like, and I know a lot of people haven't talked about it, which I don't think that Xbox needs to go after Sega. Now, if they do, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I think that what Xbox will be best at is to, I mean, not saying that if they have an opportunity to go and get a Sega, that would be great. But I think because of the Call of Duty situation, or the Activision situation, I don't know if they want to mess with a publisher anytime soon. Because this thing is all muddied up. That's something that's definitely going to be the next video that I talk about. Like I said, either tonight or tomorrow. But I don't think that they want to deal with a publisher anymore. I said not anymore, but for a very long time because of what's going on. Because just think about the hell that would be. Because now you're jumping into PlayStation's wheelhouse with some of their titles that have been, exclusive to PlayStation for years, and you're now tapping into the Japanese market in a level that has never been seen before, and that will actually get a lot of attention from developed studios and developers out there from the East. It's like, what? So, I know that people still have this thought process of saying that Xbox can't acquire Sega and stuff like that. That's not true. They got establishments all over the world, pretty much. So and I think one of the things was that they had to have a business for so many years in Japan in order to. They've had a headquarters in Japan for eons, for decades. So if Sega was willing to do that, that's fine. But me personally, I think that the partnership aspect is much more. I think it works best. I think Sega still wants to stay independent, and I still think that they're strong enough to stay afloat. I think what Xbox's plans could be is to definitely have get some studio, maybe get a Japanese studio or two, or kind of build one from scratch. Now, hopefully it doesn't turn out to like what the initiative has turned out to, from that standpoint. But I think that if you go for that, like, oh my God, me saying this is just making my head go spin. But Platinum Games, right? What if Xbox went after them? I mean, Platinum is so hit and miss, and I really have never been right with Platinum after the whole Scalebound situation. But they do have new management. I would think that would be good. Now, of course, that one of the former, I think, head leads or whatever I know he was there with Platinum Games, and then he went to, I think, Tango Games. He's working for ZeniMax or Bethesda. The people who made Ghostwire Tokyo, he worked for Platinum Games, I believe. And so, like, if Platinum Games were to come or to get acquired or something like that, because the way that Platinum is over here desperately asking to get to Scalebound or something, whatever the case may be, then if you have that type of management on top of that, they got a new person in charge that's from Nintendo, then maybe that they can be more structured and do things like that. But I'm just saying, whatever. But I'd rather Xbox just have these partnerships, and then if they could get IPs to be exclusive, or to have these partnerships to where games stay from being exclusive on just one platform, that are third party, just do that. Because going back to the original point that I was making, is that, like, from last gen, you've seen all those games on on PlayStation and Nintendo only. Xbox didn't get any of them. You see most of the stuff from these game shows this year, 90 to 95% of those games are all multi-plat, and they're coming to Xbox. That is something that you did not see that at all last gen. So Oh yeah, Team Ninja. I would be all there. I would be down for Team Ninja. I would definitely be down to Team Ninja. Because you know what? Because I'm, of course, Ninja Gaiden, Dead or Alive. Oh my God, man. Boy, 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 boy. But I mean, like I said, partnerships could work because obviously you see it's working with Sega. So I mean, of course, like that was the first thing when they start talking about the partnership that they was going to be making super games together, using the Azure, cloud stuff. Then I was like, oh man, I know Xbox is going to be asking, like, man, go ahead and bring this Persona, go ahead and bring these other games. And it looks like that's happening. To get Noonie Cooney, man, after what that developer said, like he said he would never make a game for Xbox ever again. And to have both titles to come to Xbox shows you the work that they're doing. Don't let any of these people out here try to deflect, try to deflate the excitement for that, because it doesn't matter, man. It really doesn't. You see the proof in the pudding. You see the proof in the pudding. You know, I've always thought that Persona was going to come. It's crazy because I almost want to post that video because I made that video last year. But again, I was kind of like, well, if I post this video and then it doesn't come for another 2-3 years, somebody's gonna they're gonna clown me on the situation. But I should just post it anyway because it was funny because I brought up those same points, and I still was confident that I was gonna come, and I was still confident about Final Fantasy eventually dropping on Xbox. So I said just do that, just to throw it out there, just to throw it out there, just to show that I was already thinking that this game was going to drop. I thought it would have been sooner, but it still dropped. So that's really what the positive thing about that. So I think that the more and more that they keep doing this, the more and more attention that Xbox gamers that people will look at the value of saying, look, a $300 console. If they are a pro PlayStation fan, look, I can go ahead and play 300. I can play this. I can play this game over here if they're a pro Nintendo fan. Like, look, that the options are just all there, man. And then of course the ecosystem, and then of course the Game Pass factor. That is the creme de la creme right there. That's the creme de la creme. So anyway, I better go ahead and end this, but I do enjoy that you guys came through, said what's up. You know what I'm saying? Go out there and play these games, man. Show support. You know what I'm saying? Thank the staff, man. You know what I'm saying? If you sit there and you see them out there doing their thing, man, go out there and say thank you, man, for listening to what we were asking for, and not listening to these yahoos out here that told us that Japanese games didn't matter, or told us that, you know what I'm saying, that certain genres shouldn't ever come back to Xbox. Nobody cares about that because that's bullshit. That's a lie. We do care, and we do want these games. And if we could get them all, I would be very, very happy, because I want to play these games on the platform that I play the most on. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, this is what it's all about for me. Now, I mean, like this little bear game right here, I've never played it. It doesn't look like it's my cup of tea, but I still want it. You know what I'm saying? Bring it. Have these games out here. And matter of fact, I've heard, I think Pong Soul was was posting how excited he was for that game. I know it's got a cult following. It looks wild. You know what I'm saying? But the fact of it is that, hey, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Bring them all. I want them all. I want all of them. I want all these damn games. But anyway, thank you guys so much. Really appreciate it. I will drop a video again very shortly. If it's not going to be later on tonight, it will definitely be tomorrow. And then that's going to be I'm going to be a little bit spicy, because I was ready to talk about that on GRG Friday, but of course, if you listen to the beginning of the stream, I explained what happened. But I'm glad. If you didn't notice, I got a new mic, and so therefore the mic issue should be completely eradicated, especially when I'm doing podcasts with other people, because the feedback comes down. But you know what I'm saying? But big shout out to Lethal Papa. He got this mic for me years ago. This is why he got this mic for me when I was first starting GRG. And I've been buying other mics because I don't know anything about mics. But then I kind of, you know what I'm saying, I gave a shout out to Don. He's been telling me to go get this Go XLR. And I didn't know that this mic that Lethal Papa got me was condenser mic. And so because I was wondering, I was like, why doesn't it work? And then I started reading on it, and I'm like, oh, okay, I need to get this. So I did buy a little thing for the mic, but for some reason, before I upgraded my PC, it just wasn't working. So I just kind of, years passed, I just kind of been buying other mics. I bought like 7 other mics. And then I was just like, oh, I'll just kind of nicked up. But then I get tired of people saying, man, we can barely hear you. And then the end of it was me not being able to do GRG because of the power lines got knocked down or whatever. And then the fact that when we did Devin the Gamer, that people was like, man, you came in so low. And after I listened to it, I'm like, damn, I did come in really low. I was like, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and cop it. And then I was lucky because the Go XLR was on sale. So I went ahead and copped it. So if, what I'm saying, so none of that issue, can hear me loud and clear. And some of the things worked and some of the things didn't work. But other than that, it's all here and it's doing its thing. So, but thank you guys so much. I'm out. Okay. All right. So, and OBS is telling me I need to get the hell off of here anyway, because it just popped off and popped back on. So anyway, everybody have a good one. Really appreciate it. See you on the next video. Yeah.